Okay, take care of yourselves. Body, mind, soul. Okay, so briefly go back over. Today, all about state forms, React using the call control forms. Why do we care? We'll go through that. It really just like play and get used to building in React. Greg was talking to a couple folks out there and like said some things that were really real. They're like, if you're in like Ruby Rails, there's strict paradigms you follow, classes that you follow. In JavaScript, there are infinite ways to do pretty much everything. So like we will tend to keep state related to forms in one specific place. If you want to put it someplace else and you can make that work, most of the time if you're like, well, what's right? Neither, both, and neither is really better either. You can always ask those questions. Just forewarning, you might answer no. Sometimes.
You're learning.
I am. Yes. The last thing I'll say before we actually look at the application and the code changes is just very high level that essentially right now, like I want you guys to start thinking about state as our single source of truth on the front end. Like when we grab stuff from the back end, cool. On the front end, state is gonna be where we hold everything. So as opposed to mod 3 where we would go back into the DOM and figure out where stuff was, now we wanna make sure that state is holding all of that for us. So we know exactly where to check all of the time. Having that in mind as we begin. Okay, so here's our app as it stands right now. Wowzers. So still we've got to flush to get everything. I put in some code to calculate the rating. We've got some comments and some stars. And then we've got this form that we're gonna start for now to add a new comment. So you can add some thoughts here. You can select a different number of stars and you can submit it. But I've literally put no behavior on there. So just like JS, if you submit a form, it refreshes the page. We still have down to that still happening. So that's the first thing that we're gonna work on together. After we finish working on that together, I'm gonna push up this code and ask you guys to be able to put in a search thing so that as you type here, it would automatically filter based on location name to everything else. So let's see, what's one that would do multiple? LA would get you definitely at least Flatiron School and Staten Island Fair. So that's the behavior that I'm gonna want you guys to implement there. But we'll build a form first. Cuckoo-ca-choo? Cuckoo-ca-choo! Okay, bam, bam, bam. So let's look at the code. So updates that I made to the code. App.js looks exactly the same. The only thing that I did was pass down reviews into each bathroom card additionally, so I could get that information in there as well. And then in bathroom card, not breaking things. In bathroom card, I broke out all of this info that we were rendering into its own helper method. You'll see folks do this pretty often, so the render is then really short and easy to understand. So the render itself is, there's a div, it's a bathroom card, there's an image, and then we use some method to render some info and render a comment form component. This is the thing about declarative is that you want to be able to have these different layers where it's like, at this point, I know generally what all is there. If I want to go in deeper, more information, I can check out what's inside of this method. I can check out what's inside of this component. But all of these are pretty much the same. And then comment form at this point is just a class component that returns a form with this class name. It has an input with a placeholder, add your thoughts here. And then it has this label and select for the drop down of how many stars. And a submit button.
And that form, the code right there is what renders the form with the stars and everything on the page?
Yes, so I'm using that component right here. So actually to even get the average rating, I'm really just doing this one line. Yeah. That I don't think we need to explore right now, but when I push this up and you guys start to work on the search, if you want to like break that down, or afterwards when we go through an Angry Blind Driver break that down, then it'll be a better time for it. And realistically, This part, I Googled, just like FYI. If it's gonna take you a second to remember the right way to write a reduce to get the average of something, Google it. It'll take you 10 seconds. And no one is judging you for that. Like, including on code challenge, if you're like, crap, I gotta get an average of one key from an array of objects, you map, and then you Google. Seriously, this is what we do as developers. Okay, any other questions on the update to the code? Otherwise, we're gonna hop into forms. Cool. My shoes needed to come off, sorry y'all. Okay, cool. So we're literally just gonna look at the docs for the beginning because they tell us a lot of it. So in HTML, form elements such as input, yada yada, typically maintain their own state and update it based on user input. So we don't control really their behavior when we're just writing JS. Like we type in, it handles that itself, and then when we go to submit, we'd like go in and find that input, grab its inner text, so on and so forth. In React, mutable state is typically kept in state property of components and only updated with set state. Set state is going to become our source of truth, what lives inside each of those components. We can combine the two by making React state a single source of truth. Then the React component that renders the form also controls what happens in that form on subsequent user input. An input form element whose value is controlled by React in this way is called a controlled component. So what does that mean? Let's start looking at this comment form. So from jump, there's a little bit of this, just stay with me here, trust me. And because I think everybody at least read or read me for this, ask questions as we go if there are things that are unclear. So I'm gonna say state, maybe comment, we'll start as empty string, and stars, that says starts, we'll start as 4. Thank you. I'm gonna start at 1. And then we've got these guys, and we've got to be able to start to handle what happens when the user actually types in. Like in vanilla JS and HTML, when the user types into this, the input actually manages its own internal state. We want to challenge that now. So I'm going to say handle comment change. What's the event type of an input when they type in? Change. Cool. This dot handle comment change. Cool. We're just gonna console log e.target.value. Cool? Yeah. Giggity giggity.
We don't have to pass in the event in the function.
Down here?
Yeah, event, and then this can comment change.
So you can also write it this way. Those two are equivalent. Yes. So this, I'm gonna make comment. I should have done the whole thing. Bam. This and this are the exact same thing, effectively.
The function will still have access to the event handle comments change.
Yes. Either way you write, either line 15 or line 16, handle comment change will get the event as the first argument. And that's because of how React runs this callback when the event is fired. When the event is fired, it automatically passes the synthetic event into your callback if you don't explicitly tell it to pass something else. It will automatically do that when written this way. If you write it as an anonymous function, then you have to explicitly pass it in there. Okay, so we're e.target.value. Flush. What's up? So it's just gonna track everything that's in there. But now, like imagining when we go to submit this, I don't wanna have to go submit and go be like, oh, okay, go find this input, go get its inner text when I can get its value every time they change it. It's like this is something you guys are gonna do for that search. So what I can use with this instead is I can put it into my state here. So when I go to submit, I can just submit everything from state. Right? Yeah. So I'm gonna comment this out. Console.log, state me. This dot state. All right, let's watch this work. Hopefully, what if I broke something? If I broke something, I blame you guys because you're not catching it. You should help me. How about dem apples? Our state is updating every single time, which is what we want. So that now if I go to submit, I don't have to go find that input on the screen. I can just be like, all right, send this.state.comment to my backend. Done. Easy. Okay. Now, there's one piece of this that we're missing to make it an actual controlled input right now. We've got our on change, we've got our placeholder, and that on change is updating our state. But if we do anything funny, like for whatever reason, to uppercasing it, just like say we wanted to do that and how we wanted to handle it on our state. The user is seeing lowercase plus out, but in my state, it's all uppercase. So now there's this incongruity we want the user to know exactly what we're tracking. So what we do is we add this value prop and set it equal to whatever in state we're using to track it. So that whatever we've done when we set it into our state is reflected back to the user. I'm gonna give you an example of like why we care about this in a sec. What's up? I'm doing all lowercase right now. But it's appearing to me all uppercase so that it's aligned with what's in our state, what we're tracking. Now, why do we care? So, I know I have no email in here, but proprietary things. I also just like delete everything out, apologize. Ramble, unnecessary. So have you guys ever noticed some search term, if you're searching in your inbox and then you go to send it clears out and puts this in sent inside of there? That's some stuff they're doing with their state on the back end. Like that component has some state, it's holding the value. When you navigate to your sent folder, it, inside of that component state, changes and updates the text to be in sent. It clears out your search term. If that search bar weren't controlled, this would have stayed, but in their backend, it would be in sent, and I would have no idea as a user. Like in starred. Is starred? That's curious. In sent, but is starred. I don't like that they do that. And this way, it's also very clear to the user. Like the user shouldn't have to type this in. They've navigated to sent. That in sent prefix should just be added to their search term. But we should do that. We shouldn't make them do it. So now I can search for Chipotle, and I know what they're sending to the back end. So this is like a more real life example of why we really care about this. And like what could happen that could cause issues. Preguntas up to this point.
Well, my question is that why do we need to see it in the form? Because if you want to submit another comment, you have to go and delete what stays there. In JavaScript, we usually do target reset so that we allow the form. It clears out.
So once you submit, this is like getting a little bit ahead, but once you submit in JS, you do form.reset, essentially. Now that everything lives in state, what would you do when you submit and need to reset?
Oh, set state to
Back to your default state. Clear. So often something that I'll also do with these components is say, or like initial. So that I have something easy here. People will be like, oh, they submitted, cool, set everything back.
yeah.
Yeah. But this is good. Like, I think it's really important for yourselves to think about like what made sense and how did I think about these things in JS? How does that translate to React world? So this is one translation here.
Is this one of the, sorry, good night.
Yeah.
Okay. Is this, is this relying on set state being asynchronous? Like, I'm just thinking about like how tight that feedback loop is in terms of like, you're typing and then it's replacing it with what you're doing. Like, is that, are we like relying on that? Or no?
We're not exactly relying on being asynchronous. We are relying on that, like, so the other thing about set states is under the hood, it also does have a kind of pooling features. Like one thing I initially thought in this, when I was learning about set state for inputs was like, if I'm typing real fast, like how doesn't it mess up ever? Because set state is async. And one thing that it does do with set states under the hood is if there's a whole bunch of them, it'll pool them together and calculate the most recent state, like the newest one, and then do its updates. There's some calculation going on there under the hood. Because like, I type pretty fast, and it's never messed up.
And one more question.
Sure.
Here we're not persisting comments because they only exist in the state. So we default the state to initial empty state. We don't have any comments in it.
So this comment form is only responsible for a new comment. It is only responsible for, bam, this. Over here is a separate
So we'll
piece of backup card. Persistence, yes. So two things that we'll have to implement. Girl, this is great. I like that you're already thinking about the submit, and we will get there. Is we're not gonna persist to backend yet, but when we submit, how do we? Very mature.
No, it has nothing to do with but. It's the way that like you just talk and type it.
Oh, yeah, I fully do just like type exactly the way I speak. So how do we get the comment into the comment list? This we do need to do. And there's more than one way to do it. So this is one of the things where like, we'll do it one way, there's more than one way to do this though. Okay, but we've only done the comment, we haven't done the stars. Let's do the stars. So for the select, what event am I taking there?
On check.
On chain, same Sean.
I don't know.
On Sean.
We about to see though. Or if y'all wanna Google it. All right, so for now I'm just gonna put a conslog e-target value in there and make it an odd change, and let's see what happens.
No, it doesn't work. Take one though.
4, 8, cool. Sweet. Okay, so we've got those numbers. Shoot.
But there's a limitation, which is if it starts at 1 and you want to pick one, the number 1, you have to change it back. I think.
Oh.
What?
Give it one star.
What did you say?
So you can do a different placeholder, right? Like, please select.
Yeah, maybe there's like a blank option. That's the first one, I think. Sorry, I know this is not really.
Or can we do selected there already? Would that work? We gonna handle that later, but
Okay, cool.
parking lot. Selecting 1. Parking lot is like my favorite teaching strategy in the history of the world.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's really good for wrangling annoying.
Do y'all remember the name prop on inputs and things?
Yeah.
That's a no.
It doesn't really matter, right?
Yeah, it could be anything. I want to show you a reason that I really like using this in it. So for both of these, for comment change and for handle star change, I'm going to console log e.target.name. And on my input, I gave it name comments, and on my select, I gave it name stars. Comments, stars. Now, why is that useful to me?
Less work when you're doing fetches.
Almost less work when I'm doing fetches. Also, right now we have two different handle changes. We can write this as just one, utilizing that name prop. So I also realized I made an error. This is comment, singular, and I made this comments. We're gonna make this singular. So instead of, oh, I didn't finish this one. Guys, hold me to my stuff. Stars, e.target.value, was it number in to int? No, it's to int, right?
Parsing.
It's not
Parse int, parse int. Does that take the thing?
It does.
Okay.
And then you do like comments and if you want.
I think it'll be all right. Because it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So instead of having this, line 13, and line 19, which essentially are the same thing, except one is using e.target value, the two uppercase doesn't need to be there. The other one is parsing int, and that the key is different, we can write 1 using dynamic keys. A single handle change, which is going to set state and is going to use regular brackets to make a dynamic key, e.target.name, and set the value to whatever the value of that event is.
Do you need to not have a space before the colon, or you do want a space?
I do. I tend to code this way, like where there are pluses and colons and things, especially when there's the dynamic typing. It's just easier for me to see where that stops. But that's like stylistic preferences. Yeah, that's intentional on my part. I definitely know people who are like, why are there so many spaces in your code? Because it's hard for me to see. Okay, so let's prove that this works. I'm gonna comment both of those out. We still have state being console logged, and now my on changes are gonna change to this dot handle change. And if both of these work, as I change those, we should see our state update for both dynamically. Flush, clear, new thoughts, sweet, stars, 6. Okay, so one thing that this does for us is that it does change that into a string. However, I'm gonna stay with that because it lets me have that one method and then just know that whenever I actually send this to the back end, I better change it to an int because my back end's gonna be mad. But say we had a form that had 6 different inputs, as long as you structure it correctly with the name on that input, matching the corresponding key on state, you can use this for every single one. Shoot.
Can you please go back to the console?
Yeah.
The browser. So why isn't that like when you're clicking on the comments, like look, the stars go around the
Whereabouts?
they scroll.
New thought? So as I typed into comment, stars stayed exactly the same.
Wait, can you click on
Click on what?
on the console? One of the targets.
Yeah,
I thought I saw it.
feel you. No, you good. But say, if you think, if you see something, say something. Like it still applies here too. Because like I will fully make mistakes, friends. But one thing that I'm now seeing is that this is going to end up an integer, so I just know that I need to deal with that later before I send something back that needs to be an integer. I also just noticed that this needs to be out of 10 because I updated it to be out of 10. So I'm gonna do both of those things now. I'm gonna make this initially a string of 1 so that I know for myself it's gonna end up a string. And then in bathroom card, this needs to be out of 10. Okay, so the last thing that we haven't done though is we haven't handled submitting. We can get all the updates, but now we've actually got to be able to submit the form. Shoot.
Doesn't JS make good assumptions when it comes to like with JSON, like integers that are strings? Like sometimes it'll automatically choose the type for you.
Integers that are.
Like, I've had some funny behavior on our last project where like we were wondering how it worked, and it worked because it was doing making a full request, that's all. But-
Before you're sending it to the back end? Because like my main concern with that being a string at this point is like, say I was gonna post to my back end and I send in the body the star number as a string and my back end is strict on that it's an integer,
Gotcha.
it goes boom. So I make sure before I post it to my back end that I have explicitly parsed int, just to make sure that my back end can deal with that appropriately. All right, you ready to submit? Go. I'm just gonna like prep this while you talk.
Now all these stars are integers. Can't you like add integers in JavaScript? I was wondering if you're gonna have an issue calculating the average.
Ooh, I like that thought. We gonna work it out. Wherever there are issues, you can solve them. We can solve them. We are developers here as Roar. But I like this. So like, how do we get it to the list of comments? How do we update average? I didn't even think about that. Yikes.
That's where I was going with the reduce. I was wondering if it would automatically, like,
Oh.
if you're calculating it.
I think JS would be nice to us about that. Yeah. Well, we gonna test it though. I'm gonna be lazy and not parse int it, and then we're gonna see what happens. It's gonna be glorious. Okay, so what actually gets the submit event?
On submit form.
Cool. I know it doesn't do anything yet. That's fine. Okay, and then here, so back in Mod3 JS land, what would you do on submit? Like, what is the general process to be able to post to the back end?
Prevent default.
So that stays. Cool. What else? In normal JS land, like I'm not expecting you to react this.
Yeah. Yeah, it's post fetch request.
So post fetch request. How would you get the data that you're sending in the post request? So that's mod 3.
Stringify.
Yep, and dot stringify. So mod 3, we have to actually go find the inputs, like do the DOM traversal, find the inputs, grab their text, put it in an object, yada, yada, yada. We don't gotta do none of that no more. All that just lives in state. It's so nice. Now, this dot state is all our info. All of it. Absolutely all of it. So maybe we will actually do the fetch. Oh, gosh. It's not, it's more that like, I forget how I'm supposed to put this with the JSON server. We're gonna try. We're gonna see what happens, guys. Thank you for being here with me. Reviews, we call them reviews. Okay, so we're gonna do reviews, dot then, res.json, dot then, data. Oh, true.
So you gotta do comma and then an object of like the same.
Yeah, the conflict.
I love you guys. Oh, but I also hate this part.
I think. This is something that literally I would just like Google and either one, yeah. Let's see, and then JSON stringify. There's going to be some additional data that it needs. So I'm going to do dot 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 this dot state. We're going to have to open db.json right quick. So reviews expect ID that they're going to give to us, body, bathroom ID, and rating. So I have to pass back body, bathroom ID, and rating. I think you're gonna have to change comment to body.
I might just do this instead. And then because also rating is different too. I should have planned this better. Please plan your stuff better. Bathroom ID, rating. Rating, this dot state dot stars, parse int. Nice. And then bathroom ID, dot dot dot. I don't think I have that here yet.
Isn't it? I don't know why you would string because you're stringifying it anyways. That's what I was trying.
So you stringify the whole
JSON object to be able to pass it through the request, but then Rails will be able to like de-stringify it, turn it back into JSON, and we'll understand that to be a number on the other side. Okay, so bathroom ID I do not have at this point. I'm just gonna put one here for it to stop yelling.
Is it a key somewhere?
So I do have it, however, in bathroom card.
Oh, where it's not passing.
Yeah. So comment form is a child of bathroom card. It's rendered here. And then bathroom card does know all of the info of that object. So I've just got to pass it down so it has access.
Can we set the ID to 2 since it doesn't have comments?
We can actually make some comments on that. We're gonna actually do this with the behavior instead of just hard coding it. This .props.id, right? Yeah. This .props.image, this .props.id. So now I have bathroom ID on the props of comment form. So now I can dynamically say this .props.bathroom ID. Okay. And then I've got my fetch there. Shoot.
Why is it props.bathroom ID instead of this .state.bathroom ID?
Well, what's in our state?
Because you don't put it in your state. In your state we have comment stars.
Yep.
So why wouldn't you put the bathroom ID there?
Why do I need it there?
I mean, I don't know. By the way you're saying that, I guess you don't.
Well, so the thing that I would think about state is like anything that might need to be changed and updated and actively managed. So
Oh,
comment
that's the difference between props and state. That's what that
effectively.
is. Yeah.
Props is coming from a parent and you're not going to actively manage it. State, you actively manage. So I like, did I make this metaphor with you guys about like mental health versus, nope, cool. So props are like what you inherit from your parents. Eye color, hair color, general height, you can't change it. You get it, it stays the same. State is stuff you can maintain. Are you hungry? How you feeling today? You can do stuff about that. It's like, state is the stuff you can do stuff about. Props is what you inherit from your parent, you can't change.
And you can give the state to your parents.
Your parents can give you some actions you can do that influence your parent. I.e.
Because your parents
callbacks.
can only give you props.
Yes.
But you could give your parents state, right?
You can change their
You can
state
change, right.
by using some callback or by like whiling out and making your parents romantic.
Right, but I'm saying the metaphor checks out.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Yes, yes, co-sign my metaphor. Shoot?
I see the bathroom card for a second.
Yeah, of course. Is there a question you have in the bathroom card?
So I guess IDs, oh, sorry.
No, I'm just trying to think, like how the
Shoot, I think you're going where we're about to go. Go.
or
you're having a hard time verbalizing?
Yeah.
Okay. Is it generally about like, so we're rendering a whole bunch of like comments here, how does that
Yeah.
get back over? Valid point. So let's just make sure that this works, that we can console log some new comment that's persisted to the back end, and then we'll go from there. Because then we do get into,
Oh, we would need to pass down callback function.
okay, but I type it how I say it. How do we get the comment and rating back to the bathroom card? I didn't type that how I said it. Okay. Oh, default value or value props on select instead of setting selected on option. Huh?
You put selected value.
Oh, I didn't make this controlled, guys. Well, thank you, React, for warning us. So now the select is controlled. Our input was already controlled with this value. Our select was not controlled yet, so it yelled at us a little bit. It's so helpful. Listen, I just want you guys to feel like that when at some point you come over and like bring me a bug and I'm like, you didn't try yet. Go try to solve it. It's lovingly. Okay, let's do it on number 2. Macy's department store, such a throne. Tickled.
Yeah.
Oh! Wait, why doesn't it have the bathroom ID?
Idea of ID.
Because don't you just log in state?
That's ID 9. No, I logged the data. I logged the data. Oh, how much you want to bet? That's not an integer. Yep, because it didn't even add that there. So my instinct here is that it's expecting bathroom ID to be an integer, but because we're passing it down as props, maybe somewhere in that translation it turned into a string, and so I didn't like it anymore. Maybe. Or I typed something wrong. We gonna try it. Or there's also a possibility that this is debugger. There's also a possibility that just the way the JSON server is working, I'm not doing that relationship correctly, and so it's mad at me. This is also fun. Code can be mad at me. I'm resilient. Oh, you right, you right. Huh? Bathroom? Oh, wait, this dot. Undefined? Say it ain't so. This dot props dot ID? Did I not pass down? Ooh. See, again, this is the thing with React. So it's telling me this dot props dot ID is not defined, period. So maybe I didn't pass it into the bathroom card, period. Ah, I just did it as key. I didn't do it as ID. Let key just be for the purpose of key. If you need the ID as an additional prop, make an additional prop for it. Let key have its one responsibility. Cool, okay, so that was me. That was me not planning this relationship from app to bathroom card. Comment what out?
Key ID.
Nope, you still want to keep that because that's responsible for handling this map and optimizing there.
So you're gonna have both of them.
So you're gonna have both. Let key just be responsible for handling that optimization with the map. And then if you need the ID separately, make it a different prop. Okay, so now bathroom card does have this and can pass it down, and then comment form can in fact use it. Sweet deal. So we're just going to test this and see what happens. See what happens. Such, thank you. 10. Submit. There we go. Cool. Okay. That's nice and beautiful. Next thing that you guys were starting to get at is it still tells me I have nothing and no ratings, and that's awful. Shoot.
I mean, if we have time, can you please just tell me what went wrong and how you fixed the bathroom ID?
The bathroom ID? Yes. So
you weren't passing it into the bathroom card?
exactly. I wasn't passing it into the bathroom card. So I was already attempting to refer to this.props.id. There was no ID key inside of props.
But you could have just built that key, right?
Yeah, but we let key just be about that optimization. We don't want to use it actively as a prop in that way. Single responsibility principle.
So what's key? Key is just the ID of the...
Key is a special prop that is used in cases where you're mapping to identify which instance of this repeated component it is. It's a React under the hood optimization for essentially like you have multiple bathroom cards. How do I know which is which so that I can render most efficiently?
So bathroom card key is going to be the same as bathroom ID. And
Yep.
that's why you pass them in as the same thing in the objects, right?
On the
Yeah,
right hand
within
side
the-
of these?
Within the curly boys,
Yeah. Mhm. They're both going to be the ID.
Like without it, we would get that error saying that each key should be unique. Remember we had that error
It
yesterday?
still works, but it'll.
Yeah.
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 It's not going to break anything, but it will warn you because now React isn't going to work as efficiently. It cannot optimize the same way. But that's also part of the reason that I do not want you to use it as your own specific prop. This is its one responsibility. Let it be that. If you need the ID anyway, give yourself your own prop.
So we should just usually have key somewhere there.
Uh-huh. You'll get some funky behavior if you don't sometimes. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
So we have to put it doesn't automatically give you.
Nope. Yep. great, you have to do that. Okay, so that's now working, but now we get to this moment of how do we get the comment and rating back to the bathroom card? False. So we need this child of bathroom card to make some updates to bathroom card, right? Callback. All the callbacks, all the callbacks, all the callbacks, all the callbacks. Cool. Let's say, make a new callback here, handle add review. Review info. Cool. And then so we can, instead of doing this here, instead of console logging it, oh, you know what I need to do? I can make this, I have to pass it down. Where did I? Down there, okay, thanks. I was like, where am I? Handle add review, this dot, handle add review. So now I can call handle add review with data.
Is that the prop stuff?
Yes. Nice tracking. Again, this is the hard part of React is like, dot, 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 oh man, like where is stuff coming from? Okay. So then,
So you just defined the prop? What did you just do?
I did. So I defined a method here on bathroom card, and then I passed it down to comment form. But actually, question though, where does the actual information about a bathroom and its reviews live? State where? State here just has comments open.
On the app.
So it actually lives all the way up on app. We kept all of the bathrooms up here. So the actual object that I need to go and be able to push my new comment into is all the way up in app. Dot parent node. Yes. That is a good mapping of the situation.
I made a grandparent last week.
So like when you're building state and forms and things, you're like, okay, so I have some new information. Next thing to think is like, where does that information actually need to go? Where does it need to get updated? What state are we talking about? We're not actually talking about bathroom card state. It only has this one thing. We're actually talking about app state. So I'm gonna move this up here. I'm gonna move the method up to where the state lives that needs to be changed.
Yeah, pass that down.
That's props twice.
Yep.
Oh, shit.
So one thing that we do in, is that the end of week 2 or the end of week 3? The end of week 3. Yes. Is we'll talk about a library called Redux that's about state management. Most of your applications will not need it. Like we're passing a prop 2 levels deep, not that big of a deal. When you have a giant application with a lot of data and a really nested hierarchy, passing props like 6 levels down gets really annoying. And it's a library that will help us deal with state management better. For now, we're cool. So yes, this is gonna have to go down twice. So it's going to go to each bathroom card first. I don't want this up here actually, I want it at the bottom. What? Bam, okay. So it's gonna go into the bathroom card, and then bathroom card needs to pass it to comment form, but now it's this .props.handle add review. Okay, and then comment form is still just going to pass all of its data of that review back into our method, back up in app. Shoot.
Why did you change it to this? Why is it changed to this dot props now? Because you added it as a prop in the app.
Because it's no longer defined in that component.
So before it had been defined in bathroom card, and then it was this dot. But once we defined it inside of app and passed it down, then it's this dot props dot.
So technically, you just keep doing this dot props and keep going it down level.
You could just keep going down and down and down. You don't want, like, you want it to be only as high up as it has to be.
Right.
So we'll look at our hierarchy in a little bit. Also, I don't think that we're gonna have time to break off for the search, but I'm still gonna push up the code. Like, I would recommend you guys implement that search as a way to test out how comfortable are you with this. Okay, so now it's like, what do we do with all this review info? First, I'm just gonna console log it. Or you know what, we're gonna debugger this baby. Because then we can look at this.state.bathrooms and the review info and figure out like, how do we, all of the things. Flush, cool. It makes me feel like a king. I don't know why the styling is doing that. Don't worry about it. Never any paper towels, true. Let's, so many frogs, question mark? 3.
But still gets a 3.
there are worse things, man. There are worse
At
things.
least it's wrong.
Okay.
Sadly, there are definitely worse things. Okay, so review info looks like this. It has body, rating, bathroom ID, and ID. And this dot state. Can I not? Oh. Oh. So sometimes this happens because of Chrome's developer console and weirdness with execution context. So I'm just gonna say let state. Is this dot state? Pre-debugger. So we have access to that there. Some weird execution context stuff. If you're like, this something is totally a thing, it's probably execution context. So define it as a variable and it'll give you access
You
again.
might have to define it as a different variable. That state is already defined.
Technically this dot state is already defined, not just state.
And you're in functioning.
And I'm block scope to the function as well, yeah.
But
Wait, you're saying it's just a problem with the developer tools, it's not a problem?
It's not a state is not a reserved word for.
Outside here, outside of the block scope, such that it becomes an instance key, there it's reserved. That's going to overwrite what you're inheriting from React component inside of the block scope of that method. I can let state and have it just be a variable, and that's fine.
And this will be on the code.
No. Your code challenge is fine. Also, if you guys at some point are like, we have so many anxieties and like specific questions, we can talk through. There'll be some of them I'm like, I can't answer that. But for the most part, frogs. So many frogs. 2.
Oh, wow. Standards just.
All right, cool. State. There we go. So we have all of these bathrooms, and we have review info. So we have all those bathrooms, and we have review info. And we need to be able to find, what was this, bathroom ID 4, and then go into its review and add that review to that array. Be getting deep. Are y'all nervous? You with me? Are you both yes? I'm like, maybe both. Okay, so we've got to ID the right bathroom from state.bathrooms, go into its reviews array, and add the new one. Bam, bam, bam.
One empty.
Auto-filled. On emptied is an event. Ooh. Who little did you know?
What gets emptied?
I don't know. That's such a good question. An input, maybe? I don't know. All right, so we'd have to do like state.bathrooms.find bathroom where, maybe find ID, bathroom where bathroom.id is equal to new info.bathroom ID.
It doesn't, it's not just fine. because-
Oh, by index, right?
Uh,
Or is it find index?
Isn't it just fine because it's the ID?
There we go. Struggling. So arrays in JavaScript both have a find that will get you the actual thing in that place. It also has find index so that I can figure out which object in the bathrooms array do I need to play around with.
Wait, here, so find will return what?
Find will return the object itself in the place.
Cool.
Find index returns the index.
Don't we want the object?
We do.
To manipulate it?
I'm gonna go a little bit ahead. There's a like optimization trick that I like to show, and I usually go through this route first, but I think we'll be okay with the optimization. So I'm actually gonna map over all the bathrooms. And what I'm gonna say is bathroom. So if bathroom.id is equal to review and new, what? If it has the right ID, then I want to append all of my new info into its reviews and return that same bathroom object, just with that update. For any other bathroom object, I just return the normal thing. I don't make any changes to it. And this will get me back a new array with just the update that I need, with just the change if the bathroom ID was right. So then bathroom.reviews.push review info. Then either which way, return bathroom.
The map doesn't already return it, it's not.
You have to make sure something is returned inside of map. So if you have to explicitly return, as we do, because we did this curly bracket, you have to explicitly return, otherwise it'll just put undefined in that spot in your new array. So now let's see, now we've got ID4 now has 2 reviews. So many frogs, I should have done a different text with the rating of 2. Every other review still has what it had before. I'm gonna copy this over there. Meanwhile, I saw a hand.
The state equals this update works because of pass by reference. Or like we can still do this and we still get what we want. I think my brain is hurting.
I think she did that just for
I did that just to be able to use the debugger. This is unnecessary in our code.
It's just for the debugger.
It was just for the debugger.
Okay, so it is this state.
It is this state. Yeah, the reason I did let state equals this state is because when I hit the debugger, because of execution context in the console, this was undefined, so I could no longer access this state. It was just for that reason. The key element of this is, so using map to find a single object in an array of objects and make some change just to that one.
That's a cool use.
Right?
We're also used to like map returning as many elements as in the original array.
So it actually is still going to have the exact same number of elements. We're just making sure that every element besides the one with the right ID stays exactly the same.
Yeah.
It's
Yep.
just returning in.
We did that.
Yeah.
Good, okay. So this feels okay. So this gets us maybe everything?
Yeah, the rest of us.
Okay, I think this might make everything work. Okay, let's get out of here. Cool. I'm gonna entirely close the console because I'm feeling real like brave and bold right now. Let's see. No ratings yet. Staten Island.
Did we set updates date?
Oh, did we? No. Ooh, thank you. Let new bathrooms equal this dot set state. Bathrooms, plural? Yes. New bathrooms. Good call, because that was not going to work. Cool. So we get this returned array back, we set it to new bathrooms, and then we do our set state here. That works. Yeah. We'll see. We gonna test it. Y'all ready? Ready to rumble? Want to find one that doesn't have any yet? That toilet is so beautiful. Goals. But like, look at that toilet though. It looks like an egg. Are you not into that? You don't want to sit on an egg?
So they just changed stats.
What?
It just the image just changed stats.
Oh yeah, something is happening when I type in that like does funky things to the styling. I don't know what's happening with that, to be honest.
It's like the game just got wider.
Yes, true. Okay, so moment of truth. If everything we wrote worked correctly, ratings will change to 10, and if I hit show comment, the comment will be there. I don't know if this is gonna work. Ah! Bam! Bam, bam, bam.
All of the stars, they just appear.
Yes,
They come into the comment?
That's how I wrote some things that I can show you guys. JavaScript strings have a repeat method. May be helpful. It's nasty. Go.
Yeah, so what happens here is that you have a callback function that goes to the parent of app, and like you said, you map that array, and then from that array, it passes down as a props into the render method, so that it shows like that.
Exactly. So exactly what you said. So we submit the form. It uses this callback that's defined all the way up in app to change app state. When it changes app state, it triggers a re-render. So it goes back down to here and actually re-renders every single one and gives it all of its new information.
Does it really render every single one again, or does it?
Not
render
exactly.
The
virtual
virtual
DOM?
DOM renders that.
And then it looks at a different.
And then-
This is some of the under the hood stuff, and the other reason that keys are important is because it can basically go through and say, hey, check the key. In the virtual DOM, is the previous version of it and the new version of it identical? Don't re-render, just like keep it on the page in the right place. And then seize the one for this one, which I guess is also key of 407, whatever it is, the ID, and be like, oh, okay, it looks different now. It's got new information, re-render that. But all the rest of them essentially don't re-render. The virtual DOM is fascinating because all of this is really being calculated and then it only makes the changes on our browser DOM when necessary.
And Angular Vue do the same thing, right?
So,
I think it's not like a React thing. Virtual DOM is like
yeah,
it's like
there's a lot that
a thing.
utilize this concept because it's just a way to make it more efficient. Like we do some calculation in our version, we don't bother making the browser do anything unless we have to. Because the browser is what we can't control. We didn't develop it, we can't make it more efficient. So how do we make sure we only implement behavior in it that's really necessary? Sweet. It's so much fun. Okay, we're gonna look at, oh no, I closed that, so it's away. Is this a good use of our time? I don't think so. I think we could do that later.
Can we go to another review and see if the average changes?
Yes. I like the way you think. Oh no, it didn't clear. Guys, wait.
Because we didn't do the.
I missed a behavior. Okay, do laugh at me. I know I'm foolish. It makes it more fun. Listen, we play hard because we work hard. Okay, so we are getting it to handle the review appropriately, but we've got to clear. So before this would be like form.reset. What are we doing instead? We're calling it this set state. Boom! And this is one of the reasons that I do this, is just so I could be like the original version.
Do we do it before we have a function or?
Do we do it before 35?
Yeah.
So it doesn't really matter whether we do this here or here, because data at this point is coming from the back end. It's a response from the back end and it's not in state. So like I get the async concern, but we're no longer
I'm uncomfortable because I'm like, what if it's already gone?
So you basically can only do this pessimistically.
No, you can do optimistically too. Because we could just make the assumption for both of these. Like I could move this here, and we could make the assumption. So this instead of data would be, then this would be the dot state. Ooh, only kind of. We'd have to have a way to figure out
You'd have to grab
bathroom ID.
before you.
So in that case, I would want to do this first, even though it should be handled before the set state runs. And then the only other thing that we need to pay attention to is that initial state only has comment and stars. So I couldn't pass in this dot state this way. I'd have to do the same kind of parsing.
You kind of have to turn it into an object of some sort and then reset it.
Yeah. But yeah, we could do this pessimistically still. Anything you can do that you could have done in mod 3, you can do in mod 4. There's just like slight changes to how you do it because it's React. So like instead of form.reset, this dot state, initial state, like optimistic, pessimistic render, play around with that. I'm still debating which code challenge I gave you guys. Some of them explicitly say, hey, pessimistically render, hey, optimistically render. Some of them will say, we don't care. So.
We don't care.
Wow, you don't care about React and forms? My heart.
still my heart.
Like, can we fix my polynomial issue?
So my point being, for the don't care one, most of them that I can think of offhand have one where they tell you which, and then one where they're like, we don't care. So like, remember the difference. No had implement one versus the other.
So for yours, you'll care.
It will say in the repo. It'll say in the README, which read, please, guys. Sorry, it's pet peeve. There's so many times where I'm like, you had issues because you didn't read the
For the code challenge?
Yep.
That's crazy.
Just read the
I read there was
README.
a GIF
No, I'm serious.
that showed
Read that.
different.
And also be logical. There's always gifts. Why are people acting surprised?
Sometimes there's more than one.
Yeah, so look at all of them. I don't know. Still confused why people are acting surprised
Sometimes
that
there are
there's gifts.
gifts that are not in the README.
Yeah,
The gifts are
I was
always
gonna say
nice.
that, like, in some of the labs, I wish there was a GIF of what it should look like.
Oh, I will give that.
Sometimes you gotta look into GitHub. Sometimes it doesn't load and learn, but if you look
Yeah.
into GitHub, it'll.
I can give that
the
feedback
pixel
to
Flatiron
the ed
thing,
team.
I was trying to figure
We're
out
getting
what-
so
I thought
off
it was
track
gonna
now.
change the color of the logo.
Wait, okay, pause. Let's actually wrap up because now I'm recording just like conversation, which I love, but like meh. Okay, so we did actually persist this. So practice homework is this actually.
Practice.
I.e. like, I'm probably not going to make time in the next lecture to check on this, but I would encourage you guys to, and like, if I encourage you to do something, it maps to stuff I'm gonna expect you to do later. I don't ask you to practice stuff you don't need. So, what I want you to practice, in addition or to supplement the other labs, is this search. So make the search a controlled form, and as I type, so if I did part, it would filter down to department stores. Is there any other parts in here? I don't think so. Nope. LA was a great example. So LA should parse down to Flatiron School and Staten Island and Ferry. But as you type, letter by letter, it starts to filter.
Just the,
Just by title, just by the location name. Yeah, you don't have to do it by the type or requires passcode or anything, just by this one field. This is great practice for controlled forms and also for conditional rendering.
We didn't add a review to see the average changes.
Oh, true, because we got that. Oh, I don't know why I refresh, because you don't need to, because hot reloading, but I do it anyway. Scary. Merp. Okay, 8, 2 is 10, so 5. What up? What up? I feel
That's
bad.
doing it off the strings, right? Because we're passing.
I should parse it.
I parsed it.
Can you take it away?
No, I know, but is it? But is
Oh,
it,
yeah, to-
Oh, it is doing it from the database.
It is doing it from the database. Yeah, I did not pessimistically render, or I did not optimistically, I kept it pessimistic. Yeah, I kept this here. And so you're suggesting we take off this parsent?
Let's do that.
All right, I'm good with that. I really hope that it goes boom.
Who's your assumptions here, right? Yeah, the console line.
I don't think I'm console logging anything right now.
He wants to see it go.
Whoa.
Wait, it's 300.
Yeah, that's not
Because when you.
That's such a good
When
toilet.
you add a string.
Oh, because it just merged them. Okay.
Yeah, because it just,
oh, right,
Yeah.
right, string plus,
Cool.
yikes.
So it
Oh, yeah.
exploded with.
Into, all right, so parse in those babies, because your back end will
Strings.
free. And the thing is, this is just JSON server, so it'll just let it be whatever type. If you made a Rails API, it's not gonna let it be whatever type. JSON server is not very strict in that way. All right, I'm letting you go. I gotta go grab lunch. I appreciate you guys.
Thank you.